All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining today's webinar, Ignite Curiosity, New Britannica Tools for Early Elementary. My name is Chris Heinz. I'm the Director of Customer Experience here at Britannica. I've been with Britannica for about 3 years. My background is as a high school social studies teacher, so I promise I will do my best to stay on topic and not go off on tangents. But if I do, just know that's my nature as a social studies teacher. With me, I have my wonderful colleagues, Mike Benson, our customer experience manager for the Western region, and Christy Bengali, our curriculum learning specialist. They are here to help answer any questions that you have throughout the course of the presentation. So please communicate in the chat. We will address questions. If there's anything that needs to be addressed as part of the presentation, we'll do our best to address those throughout today's session as well. So what we're going to be talking about today is Britannica's Early Learning Pack. So there's going to be a few different resources that I go through. I'll kind of set the table here with some high-level information, and then I'll jump into a live demo of each piece that we'll be talking about here. So the first is our early elementary and young children level. So you're going to hear me refer to this as both early elementary and young children throughout the session today. That is because we will look at two different Britannica products, Britannica School and Britannica Library. The content at both of those levels does match across platforms. However, you'll see it branded as early elementary in the school version and young children in the library version. But there are some exciting changes coming to the look of this platform here. So we are going to be adding a lot of new science and social studies articles. Our editorial team is working very hard to increase the amount of content that we have at the early elementary level. It is kind of a low text interface that's really built for students to browse as they are working on their emerging reading skills. But a couple other things that you'll see a new English-Spanish toggle, which helps to support multi-language learners, promotes language acquisition, and really respects students' cultural backgrounds as well, those that are learning in Spanish or they're learning in English while they are learning English. You'll also see a new page layout with some enhanced media. So I will take you through the platform and show you what this all looks like. But just to kind of set things up, this is what the first tool that we will be looking at. Then we're going to jump into ImageQuest Jr. Some of you may be familiar with ImageQuest from Britannica, which has about 3.5 million rights cleared images and short video clips. ImageQuest Jr. is hand curated and built for a younger audience. So you'll see hand curated media content and galleries really built for younger learners. Again, it's a playful, less text-heavy interface than the original ImageQuest, and has a lot of really vibrant, engaging media, as well as some sharing tools that I will demonstrate for you as well. And then the third piece we'll look at is Teach Britannica, and this site is coming soon. This is a new site from our product and editorial team to really help bridge the gap between Britannica's resources and classroom instruction. So I'll go through some of the different tools that we have within the Teach Britannica site, including our lesson minis, which are really flexible tools and activities built for personalized learning, our instructional strategies, which are a little bit more flexible, not necessarily tied to specific content, but really provide some good techniques and clear guidance for students. And then our graphic organizers, which are visual aids that really help to illustrate relationships and concepts using any Britannica content. So those are the three areas that we'll focus on today. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask those in the chat as we go through. We'll either address them in the chat or we will address them as part of the presentation. So let's go ahead into our demo, and please bear with me. I'm jumping back and forth between multiple QA environments here. So let me just try to make this work as seamlessly as possible. All right. So what you're seeing here is the landing page for Britannica Library. Again, this is our public library facing platform where we have a lot of content built at multiple levels for all users. And then let me navigate over to Britannica School, and this is where we will start today. So Britannica School, you may be familiar with kind of the top three tiers here, elementary, middle, and high school. What Britannica School does is it takes a lot of our encyclopedia content, our articles, images, videos, and puts them into grade level appropriate tiers, where students can really navigate between those tiers to find content that's appropriate and relevant for their interests as well as their abilities. The newest piece here is Britannica's early elementary. Early elementary does kind of sit outside of those other three tiers. It is not built for students to log into early elementary and then level up within the platform itself. It's really built to help these emerging readers in grades pre-K through 2 to really help them build those skills in a safe environment that's appropriate for their abilities. So let me go ahead and click into early elementary here. And I'll highlight a couple of the things that I mentioned in the slides here. The first is that it is a low text environment. It's really built for browsing and exploring. And we've done this intentionally. We do include a keyword search here so that if a student is able to type in a keyword search, or if they have a teacher who can help them do that, they can look for targeted content within early elementary. But it is really built for browsing. And we have 6 different topics for students to explore. Again, some really vibrant imagery to really kind of illustrate those concepts for students. If they're unsure of what a particular topic is, they can click on this little sound icon here,
Animals.
and they can get the read aloud for that as well. We also have pictures and video content as well as Britannica Fundamentals, which does have some additional content, some read aloud books, ways for students to explore different biomes of the world, some games for students to play working on their emerging math and ELA skills, and then a creation station where they can kind of just create kind of like a paint type environment where they can create their own masterpiece in a safe environment there. But let's go back up to our article browse here. So we encourage students to explore. If I click on any one of these topics here, you'll see again subtopics, again, a very low text interface. We have some representative images here. And then when students hover over this, we do get that kind of flyover or fly in description there so that students can work on putting together kind of the visual literacy skills with their reading skills as well. If I click on pets, it'll take me into another sub menu here, and this is where I can start to explore different articles. And I'm a dog person. I know some people are cat people. I'm a dog person, so I'm going to go with dogs here. Apologies if you are a cat person. Please do not hold that against me. But we're just trying to illustrate the concepts here. So this is our new article layout, kind of our new interface here at the article level. So a couple things to point out. First, all of the media content that is associated with this article will be in this media gallery at the top. And students can go ahead and click through and see some of the different images here. They go ahead and click on an image, they'll get a larger overlay that has a quick description. It has some of the copyright information there. And then they can also see media details, which will allow them to share content as well. Also provides us with a citation tool so that students can choose from 4 different styles of citation. It's never too early to start teaching students to use that information responsibly, so allowing them to have that citation there. Within the article itself, you'll notice this is really kind of centered on the page. It's designed to kind of draw students' focus to these important areas in the articles here. You'll see that content is broken up with inline media as well. So we don't want students to log in here and just see kind of a wall of text, that we do break it up with the media content as well. Couple other features to point out. We do have a read aloud, a text-to-speech read aloud feature here. So if I go ahead and click on this,
A dog is a furry mammal.
so you hear that read aloud in kind of a very lifelike text-to-speech manner here. One other thing to point out, it does highlight each individual word to really help students building those emerging ELA skills as well. Couple other things, if I double click on a particular word here within the article itself, you do get our what we call our double click dictionary. So content will pop up from our partner company, Merriam-Webster. You'll have the English definition of the word. Sometimes you'll have the pronunciation here as well. And then if I click on Espanol, you'll see the Spanish translation of that particular word also. Let me scroll up here to our menu page, minimize that so we can see a bit more words here on the page. So you can print content. You can click on the citation tool. Again, we have 4 different styles that students can copy and paste into a bibliography. Font size can be increased to be larger or smaller as needed. And then we have some sharing tools built in here as well. So you can share via Google Classroom, save content to Google Drive, or share via Microsoft Teams. There is also, and like I said, this is a QA environment, so there will be in the finished state here, you'll see a little globe icon. If you are a Britannica school customer and you've used the elementary, middle, and high school tiers, you're probably familiar with this, but it'll be a little globe icon that translates, machine translates content via Google Translate into over 100 different languages. The last thing I'll show here, and something you may have noticed at the top left, is that we do have this little toggle button. So this is new with early elementary. And if I go ahead and click on this, you'll see that the content is seamlessly translated into Spanish. A couple things that makes this different than the Google Translate feature is that this is not machine translated. So our Spanish editorial team has gone through this content to match what is in the English text. And then the other thing is if I click here on the read aloud feature,
El perro es un mamífero peludo.
so you'll hear the read aloud feature in Spanish as well. So that's one of the things just to point out here. When I machine translate with Google Translate, the read aloud does not work in different languages. However, using this Spanish English toggle, it does. And that's just a really powerful tool, again, for your multilingual students, giving them the opportunity to have that presented in their native language for Spanish speakers as well. Let me jump into Britannica Library and just show you some of the other features of the young children level. Again, one of the things you'll see here, this does match the content that we saw in Britannica School Early Elementary. And as I scroll down, let me just show you here the cool pictures and videos. So if I click here, you can see again, we have the same 6 topics that we browse with our article content of animals, our world, places, people, science, and nature. We can adjust between pictures and video content. And then one of the things that you'll see here is that this is kind of built as what we call an endless scroll. And we know that students, particularly when they're browsing on tablets, they scroll and they scroll and they scroll and they find information that way, or they find interesting things as they browse through content. So all of this content is really built in this way for browsing, for exploration. But if I go ahead and click on one of our videos here, let's go with About Toads. Couple things to share. First off, press play.
Toads are amphibians, like
directly in the browser here. You can download this content. So the content in Britannica School and Britannica Library is rights cleared for educational use. So as a librarian, you can actually download this content to your device, and you can include that in presentations. You can include it in programs. And again, as long as you're not publishing this and profiting from it, you're protected for educational purposes. Couple other things to point out here. If I click on closed captions, you can actually adjust the settings. So this is kind of cool. If you have a student or a patron that requires captions to be a different color, that's easier for them to read, or you need to change the size or the font or the character edge, you can go into the settings here and you can adjust those to make it applicable for students who have those scaffolds or accommodations required. And then we also have the video transcript. So again, this can be printed out. This can be given directly to students or patrons so that they can read aloud or read along with that content as well. So let me pause for just a brief second here. Mike, how are we doing on questions in the chat?
Good. We had a couple of them, but we're answering them for you.
All right. Sounds like we're doing good. Again, keep the questions coming. We're more than happy to answer those as we go through. So we are going to shift gears from early elementary and young children, and we are going to go into our Britannica ImageQuest Jr content. So bear with me, again, switching browsers here. And so we'll go into ImageQuest Jr. So one of the things I did mention a little bit earlier, some of you may be familiar with ImageQuest, which is our partnership with about 62 different collections to provide copyright cleared images and video content for users. One of the things that we heard from a lot of folks is that it just cast a very wide net, right? When students were going into ImageQuest and they were searching for things, they would find a lot of images, and it could be really overwhelming for young students in particular to sift through a lot of that content, to not always know what the best representation of an image was. And so ImageQuest Jr kind of solves for that, because all of the content that is put into ImageQuest Jr is hand curated by our editorial team to make sure that it meets the needs of younger students and provides a really good representation of the topics that students are browsing and searching for. So a couple things as we go through. Again, you'll see, similar to what I mentioned with the early elementary young children level, we have kind of a more playful interface, not a lot of text here on the page. It is really built to be a safe place for students to explore. And if I look across this kind of toolbar here, you see the little icons. So if we want to see bears, if we want to see space exploration, oceans, insects, horses, right? If I go ahead and click on these little playful icons and animations will open up on the top page here. If I go ahead and click on that image, you'll see a search has been performed for horses, and I can see all of the ImageQuest Jr content that reflects that particular keyword search. There's a couple things to point out here, right? We did a search here for horses. We have images, we have video content. If I want to see a larger resolution, just pick a good one here. So we have this media player. I always say it kind of looks like a Nintendo Switch, that it's, designed again to be kind of a playful, friendly interface for younger students. If I scroll through either of the tabs here, it'll allow me to see the next image that's presented in that particular search. And then we have some sharing tools here. So you can share this content, again, copy the link and share it directly with folks. You can email this, save it to Google Drive, or share it to Google Classroom. You can, again, download this content to your device, and this can be, again, embedded in PowerPoints, Google Slides, or presentations that students are doing. We have a citation tool built in here as well, so students can copy and paste their citation into a bibliography, and then the content can be printed as well. If I click down here on this plus sign, you'll get all of the boring but very important copyright information and additional keywords that lead to this particular search here. Things that students don't necessarily care about, but adults and particularly legal departments care about them quite a bit. So making sure that all of that information is presented for the images as well. And actually, if I click on this image and show you kind of a really zoomed in version, you can see in the top left corner, every image here has this little, I don't know if you can see it well on your screen, but it has this little Britannica thistle watermark. That is what protects users from copyrights. So if there is an image in there that the original producer feels is a copyright violation, you're protected by this watermark here and assured that all of this is properly licensed for educational use. All right. Let me go back and show you a couple other things here. So we did create a series of galleries as well, because we wanted to make sure that we had kind of the best of the best information was represented for students here. So if I go ahead and click on, let's just click on cool places here. We have these different topics where we want students to kind of explore the image galleries. So if we want to see cool places, if we want to see clip art, if we want to see people or animals, we can browse by these different hand curated galleries to make it really easy for students to find that information. So let me go ahead and click on frogs. And again, you can see it's a shorter list of content here. Really, again, kind of the best representation of what students would want to see for that particular topic. You can do the same thing with video content. Let me just show you how the videos display in here. I don't know about all of you. I am obsessed with birds of prey. So I live in the Chicago area. And seeing this bald eagle, I have an 8-year-old son. He plays soccer on our park district team. And we had a game last weekend, and there was a bald eagle that was just kind of swooping over the field. And I don't know what he thought he was going to get out of it. Obviously there were ponds and stuff nearby, but I felt very patriotic. So we'll go into birds of prey and take a look at some of the images here. One of the things you can do is you can select content. You can select multiple images from a gallery. So if you find certain ones that you want as kind of a sub gallery here, you can add this to your favorites using a My Britannica account. You can download this content to your device. You can share via email, print, or save to Google Drive. And one of the things that I do like to show here is that if I go into my personal account here, I can see all of my favorited content, any images that I've favorited in the past. If I click on this little 3 dots here, I can explore content, or I can go and see albums that I've created. And so the nice thing here is that you can create your own albums. If I click on this early learning webinar one, you can see I've added some images here, and you can go ahead, rename your album. You can add notes to this content for students, and then you can again share this, copy the link, paste it into an LMS, and share it directly with your students that way. But just some really nice ways to increase students' visual literacy skills, have them explore images. This can be really helpful, again, for multilingual learners, right, who may struggle with the language but really excel in visual literacy. So providing them that opportunity to explore in a safe space, again, with content that is curated specifically for your younger learners. So I will pause again before we go into Teach Britannica. Any questions come through? Any comments, concerns, or feedback from folks?
No more new questions from last time.
All right. So let's go ahead into our last resource. And this is Teach Britannica. So this is a new site that our team is developing, again, to really bridge the gap between the classroom and Britannica resources. This can also be a really powerful tool for public librarians to use some of the lesson content and instructional strategies to really beef up those programs that you're doing with your patrons as well. So this site is not currently live. This will launch next week is the target date. So the week of the 23rd, more information to come there. So I'm currently in a QA environment. But what you'll see is all of our Britannica products are listed out here. If you are a Britannica School subscriber, there will be a link directly from Britannica School to this specific level of Teach Britannica. So if I'm in the early elementary tier in Britannica School, there will be a link that will take me directly to this page here, where I'll be able to see all of the content that is appropriate for the level that I'm currently in Britannica. There's a couple different types of resources here. So within Britannica School, we have lesson minis. These, again, are really built to be flexibly implemented activities for students. So let me go ahead and show you what this looks like here. So we have a quick overview. We provide some ideas for implementation. We front load any vocabulary that students are going to come across in these articles. And then we have some authentic learning extensions. So how can we take the concept or the topic that we're learning about and provide some additional ideas for learning beyond the classroom? Then we get into our activities themselves, and for the furry and feathered friends lesson mini here, we have 5 different activities. As I scroll through each one here, you'll see some of them are designed to be less than 20 minutes. You'll see some that are 20 to 30 minutes. You may see activities in other lesson minis that are designed to be 30 to 40 or 40 plus, but we give you kind of a quick pacing guide there and what to expect. These are also designed to be either implemented all together and concepts that will build on each other as you go through each activity, or they can be implemented on their own, right? If you like one of these activities and you say, oh, this is something that'll fill 30 minutes, you can use that activity with your students. And then within each activity, we have materials and resources. Let me pick a different one here that links back to Britannica School. So we'll have examples of everything that you'll need to complete this activity with your students. We have some handouts here, graphic organizers, other content, worksheets that are really built for this activity. And then we also have links back to Britannica School content. So if there is any content that is specifically referencing Britannica School, you'll have your link back to it there. Then we have our implementation steps. And so we show you, again, any content you'll need here. We have links back to it here. We have some differentiation and variation for different student groups. And then we have some suggestions for collaborative teaching. So if you're in a team teaching environment, if you have aides, if you have a co-teacher in your classroom, here are some ways that you can kind of work that or implement the activity with your co-teachers as well. Okay. So those are the lesson minis, again, really built to pair well with Britannica content. Then we have our instructional strategies, which are a little bit more broad. They're not tied to specific content. They're a little bit more kind of higher level conceptual activities here. But let me go ahead and click on, where's a good one here? Let's do the KWL chart here. So again, we have your kind of pacing guide, suggestions of when this can be implemented, any materials that you'll need here, quick procedure, here's your graphic organizer, right? So if you have students do this before reading, we want them to talk about a topic. What do they know? What do they want to know? And then at the end, what have they learned? We provide some differentiation and some variations here. But again, really designed to be flexibly implemented within the classroom and helpful for teachers there. And then finally, we have our graphic organizers. So all of this content, you may be familiar with the Britannica Asset Library, where we have a lot of this content currently housed. But these are just really simple worksheets designed to be visual representations of information. I once did a session with some librarians in a school district not too far from me, and I showed them all of our graphic organizers in the asset library. And one of the ladies in the room, I don't think she heard a word I said for the rest of the session because she pointed and clicked on every single graphic organizer to download it to her desktop. But when she left the session, she made sure to come up and tell me that it was the best professional development that she'd ever had. So this is a very popular piece of content that Britannica has been offering, but hopefully something you find here that can be useful in the classroom as well. So again, please keep an eye out for this. The week of the 23rd, we will send out some more information as this content goes live. You'll also see within ImageQuest Jr, we don't have those lesson minis because they're not tied to ImageQuest content, but we do have the instructional strategies. We have the graphic organizers built in here as well. So all of the content will be tied to particular Britannica products. But again, hopefully something that's really easy to implement and something that folks can get a lot out of as you bridge that gap between Britannica's resources and the classroom. And then some more information about us down here at the bottom. So let me go back to my slides. And just kind of a quick overview of as we look through kind of Britannica School Early Elementary, some of our highlights here. We're really proud of this English-Spanish toggle. That's something that I think really provides a really helpful tool for students, along with our bilingual natural voice read-aloud feature. We do have within our Britannica School product an open dyslexic font as well. The double-click dictionary can be a really nice tool for users to determine the meaning of words if they can't figure it out in context. And then finally, Teach Britannica, having some of those comprehensive educator resources. So really proud of the work that our team is doing here around early elementary and our early learning pack. So I will stop talking for a little bit and open things up to questions. So if anyone has additional questions, comments, feedback, please put them in the chat. And we are more than happy to address those as we go through. Mike, has there been any other feedback? All right, looks like we do not have anything in the chat here.
No questions. We got a comment that it was stupendous. So good job.
I like that. Stupendous is a very good word. Appreciate that. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording. If anyone wants to stick around, I'm more than happy to stick around for the next few minutes here. But for those of you watching at home, thank you for joining the recording here. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.